Hi everyone, welcome to the vertical edition of Poems That Changed Me. Today we're coming to you from a slightly different aspect ratio. I hope that meets with your approval. Today I'm going to be talking about a poem that I think a lot of us love. It's John Ashbery's Paradoxes and Oxymorons. And here's the poem, Paradoxes and Oxymorons. This poem is concerned with language on a very plain level. Look at it talking to you. You look out a window or pretend to fidget. You have it, but you don't have it. You miss it. It misses you. You miss each other. The poem is sad because it wants to be yours and cannot be. What's a plain level? It is that and other things, bringing a system of them into play. Play? Well, actually, yes, but I consider play to be a deeper outside thing, a dreamed role pattern, as in the division of grace, these long August days without proof, open-ended. And before you know it, it gets lost in the steam and chatter of typewriters. It has been played once more. I think you exist only to tease me into doing it on your level. And then you aren't there, or have adopted a different attitude, and the poem has set me softly down beside you. The poem is you. I remember the first time I read this poem. As with many Ashbery poems, I did not know what was going on. But I read it again, and this unbelievable Ashberian sense of play leapt out at me. It's one of my very favorite poems to teach for both creative writers and also for literature students, because one of the things it does is undermine any notion that there is one way to read a poem. And you can see this just from his various moments of linguistic play, multiple meanings, double entendre. So in the first line, this poem is concerned with language on a very plain level. I often ask my students what it means, this phrase plain level. Level he plays with, it can mean, a sort of strata, but also I talk about the level as a carpenter tool, right? A plain level. And then plain, if you think about it in those terms, is also playing with the notion of a PLANE, something that planes would. A level is something that measures. So he's already in line one challenging any kind of confidence that you and he are on the same level. The last line of that opening stanza, you miss it, it misses you, you miss each other, is really one of my favorites in all of contemporary poetry. So again, the double meaning of miss, you don't quite get each other, which is a great metaphor for a poem. But two, the sentimentality of, oh, you miss your loved one, right? The poem misses you because it was meant for you. And you miss the poem because you were meant for the poem, right? You miss each other. But you also literally miss each other in that you can't quite get what's going on. The third stanza, again, I love this line, a deeper outside thing, a dreamed role pattern, as in the division of grace, these long August days. I often ask my students this notion of the division of grace, as in grace being sort of separated, but also the division of grace as in a mathematical formula. And that reading gets played out in the next line where he says, as in the division of grace, these long August days without proof. Proof as in evidence, but also proof as in a mathematical formulation. August also as the month, but August as in August, as in well-respected, prominent. And of course, play really gets reworked throughout the poem. When he writes in the final stanza, it has been played out once more. You get the reference to the earlier notion of play, but also something being played out, being worn, being overdone. And then also there's the uncertainty of the pronoun it. It is a kind of moving signifier in this poem. You are never comfortable saying that it equals the poem, or it equals language, or it equals meaning. It is an unstable signifier, as we might say in the world of semiotics, a moving target. And Ashbery is having a lot of fun making us feel joyful anxiety about the referential elements of language. Um, and then he goes back to this notion of level, on your level, and then you aren't there or have adopted a different attitude. And the poem is set me softly down beside you. The poem is you. So by the time we get to the end of the poem, and this is the line that Stephanie Burt uses so well in her book on the contemporary poem, that the poem is us in our own inscrutable, messed up, multiply signifying self. We are the poem, and the poem is us. We are a paradox. We are an oxymoron. We miss everything, and everything misses us, which makes poetry the great metaphor for life itself. For these other reasons, this poem absolutely changed things for me.